Hello, hello, everyone. It is our last final live of this year, 2025, which is really exciting. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. It is my grandson's 4th birthday. Cannot believe I have a 4-year-old grandson. Just so crazy. In 2 years, he'll be in kindergarten, and Maverick will be 3. I don't know. And it's my daughter-in-law's birthday as well, so that's exciting. I don't know why it's not letting Ben send request. Unable to join your broadcast at this time. Well, that's rude. Let's try it again. Send request. Okay, Ben, if you're watching, let's try to request it again. Maybe get out and get back in. Maybe. See if you can request it again. Anyways, does anyone have plans for New Year's Eve? We're going to do a market update, kind of a year recap of what's going on. I'm going to text Ben from my computer really quick and have him retry to request access. I think this is part of our recap, is that it doesn't. There we go. Now it's happening. It wouldn't be technical difficulties if we didn't have an issue with this. It's my big-headed husband. My whole face was in it when I first started. It was like the whole, and I was like, no, we're not doing this yet. Let's start over. You like the shirt you bought me for Christmas?
Yes, I love it.
Well, it's a bodysuit, but you know what I mean. My office is so hot because the sun is blaring, but I love it.
Lucky you have sun. I don't have windows in my office, so.
Oh, I love the windows, and it definitely affects the heat. I hope everyone's feeling okay. We got the nasty influenza A going around, they said. I've had some sick kids in my house. We've had family members sick. It's just been
fun.
Yeah. So I wanted to do a recap. I'll move you over here so that way I can look at my computer as well. It's kind of foggy. Of 2025 for the market and what was going on. And then add in some tips about buyer momentum. And then I have a little tip about down payments. And then, most common loan. 25. Sound good?
Yes. Love it.
Yes. Every time you say yes, it reminds me of Ellie. So a statistic that came out this last week talking about November is buyer momentum is up 3.3% in November, which is the best it's been in 3 years. So that's really exciting, and primarily on the West Coast, 9.2% jump on the West Coast. So
wow.
That's huge, because 3.3 is obviously nationwide.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? We continue to see this with buyer demand. What typically happens, babe, when we start to see an upswing in buyer demand?
No closing costs, I'll say right away. Multiple offers, more competition, higher price points. So, if a seller, you were getting 20, 30, 40 grand less on a house this year, the actual home, that a seller puts out there, it may end up going higher than what they listed the home for. So many things that we've kind of had conversations over the past 2025 on our live here about turning the light on and getting going now. So that's the majority of it.
Yeah, cash to close, money for low appraisal. I don't see this shifting dramatically like it was in 21.
Mm.
But there's people that were buying homes with no inspections, waiving appraisals, waiving financing. I don't, like I said, I don't see us heading to that right away. And again, I don't want people to miss out on that first time home buyer market that we are in right now.
Yes.
People are getting co-signers. You can house hack by having people rent from you. There's just so much opportunity. And yes, interest rates may still be a little high in your mind, may not be, but that's not a permanent number. That's something that you can always look at later on once the rates go down. And Ben does a yearly mortgage review, but he also follows trends and making sure that if it's time for you guys, it might make sense in order to do that. So that was that statistic. There was another one that said the years of saving for your down payment has gone down. Typically, it takes a consumer 12 years to save for their down payment. It's now down to 7 years. What I will say though is that the concern of that would make sense if you didn't look at all the different loan programs. And so I thought this was a good way for you to go into those zero down loan programs and just an overview. I mean, there's hundreds of them out there. And what would the benefit be of using one of those programs besides not waiting 7 years to buy a home?
So I have a question on that 7 years because that seems like a really far-fetched. 12 years sounds crazy. Is that 20% down or the minimum based on the loan? Do you have those numbers there? Is it 20% down or is that
That's
conventional
just
FHA?
10%.
10%.
10%.
Okay. So there are so many options in 2025, about to be 2026. By the way, Happy New Year. That you'll be able to have your down payment and be taken care of. Basically, it's not zero down. It is a down payment assistance program. There are a lot of different programs out there so that when you're talking about house hacking or you're talking about tips and tricks is you can really make buying a home affordable by using one of these programs that you qualify for once you turn the light on and saving that money that you may have saved for 7 to 12 years or a year or two if you can't wait 7 to 10 to 12 years, and hedging your payment or putting it forth towards closing costs if the market shifts, or just putting it in the savings and just hoping that a rainy day doesn't come, right? Because life does happen. So there are a lot of different, I keep hearing a beep, but there are a lot of different programs out there, and you just have to turn the light on. There's conventional, there's FHA. Obviously, we know our veterans, thank you for your service. They automatically get zero down, but you can couple some of these down payment assistance programs with some of the VA so that if a seller doesn't pay closing costs, you can have them take care of that. There's just so many great options in this day and age. You don't have to bring even sometimes a dollar for a down payment. You can get a down payment assistant program. You just need to turn the light on and start and see where you're at.
I love that. Hi, Katie. Katie Salzar's watching.
Hello,
I have
Katie.
not talked to you in a long time. Go Hawks.
Yeah.
Saturday game. Really exciting.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Going into the overall market in Pierce County, we're just
Yes.
going to focus on that. We also serve King County, Thurston County, Skagit County, all of that. But just primarily our hometown of Pierce County. So there was a 1% overall decrease in price from 2024 to 2025. We've seen that sometimes even more. This was just an average. They call 2025 the plateau year. So it wasn't a year of crash, like some people say, like prices didn't crash, it just more plateaued. So there's a difference in that, obviously, a little bit. So prices swing and affect depending on the neighborhood and price point. But I am starting to see that leveling out. I mean, in 2021 and 2020, I mean, some homes increased value from 30 to 45%. And that's just a lot and not
Hmm.
something that we can keep up with and don't want to keep up with, honestly,
Hmm.
because taxes would increase and all of that. And that just takes general buyers out of the market.
Hmm.
And that doesn't sustain for anyone. So we really have had a seasonality of adjusting for that market time. So unfortunately, if you bought in 2021, 22, some of 23, you've really got to play this long game of equity, and pulling that out because, where we're used to, a 4% increase year over year statistically, we're seeing an adjustment for previous years. So that's where we're at with that. Average 41 days on market. I saw some weeks that were 88 and 90, but overall for the entire year, this last week's was, which is why it's so important to make sure that you're looking at every week and have someone that's an expert looking at those things with you. Let me see if I can find it. What do you think of those stats so far?
44 seems really good. I know one week you told me that King County had like 120 something, and Pierce County was at 90 something, or a little maybe even over 100. And that's just wow. That's why it's such a good idea to buy a home today versus waiting, because once that goes down to 1 to 5 days on market, you're not going to get closing costs. I mean, you could, but the statistics and the percentages of getting it is very, very, very low. So,
Yeah. Well,
hey,
and
Scott.
looking at the average for this week is 107 average days
Okay.
on market for Pierce County. So this is just looking at in 41 days overall for the year, but those things are still ticking up, but it's still a slight seller's advantage. So we're still seeing that, which means instead of it, being a buyer's advantage, we're still about here. And just a little bit of buyer momentum is just going to tick us right into that high demand. And that's my concern. And, obviously, Ben and I are in the business of putting people in homes. And we're saying this because we care. We really want you guys to take a look at your financial situation and see what your options are. That's it. Start there,
Mhm.
figuring out what that looks like. But we had so many buyers before COVID hit, and they literally could not buy a home because of how
Yeah.
quickly the market shifted. They didn't have cash to bring in for low appraisals. They couldn't go up in price. They couldn't compete. The type of home they were looking for was much lower then. And then obviously their jobs got affected because those were those hardworking people out there, those
Mhm.
blue collar hospitality, they were all really hurt during that and are still making up from that time. But this pocket I have not seen in 14, 15 years. And this is that magic first time home buyer pocket that we're not going to see again for a long time. Now, prices are obviously increased. I mean, I had a client buy a house in 2012 for 185,000, is actually Katie's mom. So, like that obviously makes a difference now when that home sold for 500 and something, right? 515. So don't quote me on that, but I know I'm close. That plays a huge part. Affordability is still out there. That's why we say house hack. See who else you can purchase with so that in the next 5, 7, 10 years, you can build that $400,000 worth of equity or 150 or 200,000. You're going to save a lot faster than this down payment thing for 7 to 12 years. So for 50 grand. You're going to get a lot more done that way. So that's really where things have been at. and where we're at. I'm really excited about 2026 and the momentum of going into and just continuing our source of education for people
Yep.
and being the vehicle, I guess, to help people make the best decision for themselves and their family in any time: death, divorce, diapers, relocation, size up. I mean, we really help with all of that. And as a seller right now, if you're feeling like, man, I don't know that I can sell my house because I'm not going to get what I want for it and everything, instead of focusing on that, let's look at what your options are to buy, because you may make up for it on the other end, where in a high seller's market, you're going to maybe get a little bit more for your home, but then you're going to pay a lot more
Yeah.
for the home that you're going into or downsizing into, because that may be a higher priced home, or maybe you're going from a two-story to a rambler, and ramblers are a hot commodity. So each situation is different. But if we focus on and still can get you a good number out of your home, and then take that into the next property and be able to get those closing costs paid for, or some rate buy down, whatever that situation needs to look like, you may be in a better position
Yep. Agreed.
and can take your time too. You know, it's not flying off the shelf and now you've got to find a home you want to move into in the next 30 days. There's obviously other loan programs for that as well. We talked about that a couple videos ago. But I think that people, myself included, hyper focus on that one thing and get a roadblock because there isn't clarity on what those next steps are going to be. And we can help you create some of that clarity and what your options are. That's all.
Yep.
A,
Agreed.
B, or C, what would you like to do if it makes sense or it doesn't make sense? I mean, we had a client take their house off the market. It totally made sense for him to sell and pay off some debt, but he just didn't feel good about it. And that's okay. He's been a client for life and he'll come back around. We're not in the business of talking you through things. We're there to help you see the answers and discover what's the best route for you.
Yeah, we're not going to talk you into it if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And even if it does make sense, you still get to make that decision at the end of the day.
Right.
And we're going to be here to support you because this is your life. We're just here to wrap our arms around and create that NLA real estate network family, supported by Ben, and care for you throughout all life's journeys. So that is my 2025 year in review. We will continue to do these Tuesday at 2. If that still works out, I got to look at my schedule moving forward, but we do have a buyer come as you are Zoom information night that goes a little bit deeper into the home buying process on January 21st. What time is it at, babe?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. January 21st. That is a
Yes.
Wednesday, which is Ben's gym night. So he's going to give me that day instead of a Tuesday or Thursday because I have
That's
practice.
okay.
But we are so excited. Invite your kids, invite your parents, invite your friends. There is a Facebook Eventbrite that I can, or event link that I can post in the comments. But feel free to share with anyone. The more the merrier. This is a non-informal night of just the next step so that you can feel confident if this is something that you want to do or pursue in 2026.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, help get some of your inheritance and have your grandparents or parents show you what it's going towards while they're still here. So,
You can truly build wealth in real estate. You can never really, it's hard to time the market. You mentioned one thing, and I'll kind of end it with this. I heard the best analogy recently about the market, the real estate market, is if you're on a freeway and at times, like we'll say COVID, we were going 150 miles an hour. When
mhm.
you slow down to going 10 to 15 to even your normal speed, like a normal appreciation of 4% a year on average, it feels like you're going backwards. You're not going backwards, but it feels like you are. And when you're getting on that freeway as a first time driver to go 150, it's really tough. So, what we've experienced back in the COVID times and first time homebuyers is it's always best to turn the light on and find out what your personal plan is. We stress that over and over and over again to find out where you're at. That's it. Because it may not be the right time to buy. It may be the time to wait 6 months, a year, or a few years. It may be the time to buy so that you can start that wealth building process now. But we
Mhm.
will together create a plan for you and hold your hand through that the whole way.
I just was getting one of these talking point cards,
Okay.
and it said, "What don't you enjoy about your career?" So we're gonna pick a different one.
I don't have a problem answering that.
Go ahead. So what don't you enjoy about being a loan officer?
Uh, it's not really about being the loan officer. I just feel there's a lack of education in true wealth building and understanding processes a lot. It's not really taught in schools. The credit systems, the income assets, how to's. We get so bed rotting with our 5 minute max Facebooks and TikToks and all the stuff. I think that the real, it's not what I don't like per se, but it can be frustrating that we are looking at the surface level of stuff more than truly digging deep and understanding how to do it, because maybe it's a little harder or we're busy or so many different things. So I just wish sometimes we could just plug our brain into someone and have them go, oh my gosh, because I know that if we did that and we fast forward 10 years, and if homes do appreciate to the seven, eight, $900,000 mark, and you could have got one today, everybody always says, I wish I would have bought last year. I wish I would have bought the year before that. I seen your, was it a TikTok or should have bought a home last year, should have bought a home last year. And
Mhm.
that's the hardest thing is truly relating that education without them thinking you're some car salesperson, that you truly care about their financial future. So it's not a negative per se, but I think it's misinterpreted. It's I don't know how to say it, but that's what I would
Yeah.
say is
I
very
would say
frustrating.
mine is the perception of what
Mm,
real estate agents do. And unfortunately, there's some that do put a bad taste in people's mouths, and
mhm.
that's not the experience. I think of across all industries of who we really are and what that looks like. And yeah, so it sometimes is a lot to overcome when you're walking through people financial situation, and they're already hesitant because they've had a bad experience or someone told them about something. So I would just, there's a lack of research, and people just
Mhm.
don't interview as many agents as they should because they think we are all created equal. And that is not the case at all. A lot of us do similar things, but how we handle negotiations and how we protect your best interest is huge, because there are a lot of agents out there, one, that have never even been in a market like, and two, we call it commission breath, where, their best interest is what they're looking at for themselves and not necessarily for the consumer. And that causes a lot of heat in things because, we have to work with the other agent. In order to sell a home once, you got to sell it 3 times to the agent sells it to their buyer, and then we got to sell it to the appraiser. And so having a positive reputation in this industry is
Love that.
huge. And
Agreed.
so I really wish consumers did more due diligence and researching who to work with and why.
Agreed. Agreed.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys have a happy new year. Like I said, it's our grandson's 4th birthday tomorrow, and our daughter-in-law's 23rd birthday, 24th birthday.
Don't ask. Don't
I
ask
don't
me.
know. She's
Don't
going to
ask
be
me.
21 forever. So we're going to do dinner tomorrow night. Our son wants to do. So probably play some games. I'm an old lady and go to bed at like 9 o'clock. So maybe I'll stay up till midnight this year.
Ooh, you
We'll
heard it
see.
here.
I said maybe.
Maybe we'll
So,
go live.
but if you, like I said, if you have someone that you know could benefit from the education for our
Yes.
Zoom meeting, it's online. You don't even have to turn your camera on. We may even do it in a webinar format, but you can still ask questions. But come as you are, come wherever you are, and join us. And if you know of any vendors that we need to partner with this next year, let us know because we'd love to link up with them.
And if you don't show up, and it's okay, we'll do another one, but just reach out to us and let us know what information you want to know. If we haven't covered items that you're like, man, I really have a question about this, just reach out to us. We'll throw it on a live, we'll put it in the Zoom, or we'll reach out to you and see what we can do to help.
Absolutely. Hope you
All
guys
right.
have a good
Happy
rest of
New
your
Year.
2025. Happy New Year.
See you guys.